So today, Vivian. Vivian said, So today, Vivian will be telling us a little bit more. So now she's come. I think it's nearly 1 year now, isn't it, Vivian?
Yes.
Or more?
Almost.
So it's almost 1 year that Vivian has been here teaching in her school as a maths teacher. So she's just going to be telling us a little bit more about how she's found things in the UK, the job, and everything else.
Thank you, Miss Moma. It's really actually nice meeting you once again for the second time.
For the 100th time, not the second time.
For the 100th time. Let me tell it that way. Nice to meet you all, guys. Lovely to be with you once again. And I must say, it's been nice out here. Yeah. So with teaching, I'll say very cool.
Yeah.
Started. So if I should go back a bit to how things worked, in my case, immediately I arrived. Straight to the classroom.
Wow.
Yeah, because I came in January. It was in the middle of the year, so no time to waste. I was given my job outright, told where to go, my classroom, everything, and I started work.
I see. Good. So no time to waste. Straight on. Straight. No messing about.
Not at all.
Okay. So Vivian, can you just tell now? So this is for the viewers who I know lots of people are still trying to come to the UK, or they're here, or they're nearly here, but they would just like to have a little bit of an insight onto what it's like. Because I am primary, okay. So Vivian is secondary, and I know quite a lot of people are looking for secondary positions and things like that. So Vivian, can you talk us through what it's like? So the day-to-day life of school. So just first of all, when the children come in, can you just walk us through a school day, a life of a school day? Can you just walk us through that?
Thank you, Ms. Boma, once again. So with the secondary school level, one thing that I want to talk about is movement with regards to teachers and students. You know, back home, students are stable in one specific classroom. I mean, each year, each class, yeah. But here, it's the opposite. As much as back home, teachers are to move to the students' classroom one after the other for lessons, here is the opposite, as I said earlier, and teachers are stable and students do the movement.
Okay.
So if in a day, we have maybe 5 periods in a day, students go to period 1 in a classroom, maybe to my classroom, and then they go to period 2 in someone else's classroom, maybe for a different subject. They go to someone else's classroom for a different subject throughout the day. So for me, as a teacher, I start my day off by entering the school, making sure everything is in place, my copies, printout of work, task sheets for students are all done, and then set up my electronic board, get ready for the start. Now, exactly 9 o'clock, students get to come in for period 1.
So wait, hang on. So do you have, sorry, I just have a question. So do you have your own class? So you have a class where you are in the whole school day?
Of course.
Okay. So it's the students who come to you, to that class?
Yeah.
So that is your own class, or do you share the class with other teachers or something?
Since I was a new teacher from elsewhere, I was having my own classroom, but I wasn't teaching all the time in the classroom, but some 1 or 2 periods, other teachers come to use my classroom, but it got changed after a while, and so I'm having full control of my classroom, and I'm always in my classroom. Students get to come to me.
I see. So what is the interval? So the interval. So once, when does your first class come to you?
Okay. So as I said earlier on, the day starts at 8:30 when students come in, but lessons actually start at 9 a.m.
Okay.
So exactly 9 a.m. your first set of students will be coming into your classroom for the first period and for the first lesson. And so when they come in, normally in my school, what we do is you, the teacher, are supposed to stand at the door. Welcome the students one after the other into the classroom. It's a nice way of starting the day and starting a lesson actually. Yeah, just to say hello to your students, welcome to my lesson. So you usher all of them into the classroom, and as they are entering one after the other, you make sure there is a first task for them on the board. I mean, we call it DNA. Yeah, in our school we call it DNA. I don't know how other schools call it, but it's just a pre-lesson task.
So is it maths?
Maths every subject has that.
Okay.
In the school. So with my area, maths, I get a set of questions, not many, just a starter, some pre-lesson questions on the board ready for students, and I stand at the door and welcome each of them into the classroom.
Okay. So as soon as they go in, they start that starter.
So they are not distracted.
I see.
Maybe talking to each other, making noise and all that. Yeah.
I see.
So they just get in. I usher everyone until the last person is in. Of course, as a teacher, you should know the number of students coming to you. So the moment you notice majority of them are in, you leave the door open still for the rest, maybe 1 or 2 people who are yet to come in and you get in. The next thing to do, as the students go ahead with the pre-lesson task, the next thing for you to do is to go around, monitor what they are doing, if they are actually on task. Yeah, and then just for about some few seconds and go back to your seat and you take the register from there.
I see. And then afterwards, your lesson starts.
Yes.
Okay. So how long is one maths lesson?
Every lesson is an hour.
Okay,
not fully an hour. Let me say about 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, because 5 minutes to come in, 5 minutes to take the register. So the actual lesson, I would say a maximum of 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you finish that one, please don't mind the children. So we decided to do the video today with the list of the children playing. So please just ignore the children in the background, but we will carry on with our video regardless. Okay. So then they finish that lesson, they go. Do you have a break in between before another class comes in?
Okay, so the structure for a typical day is like this: 2 periods before break, 2 periods.
What you mean 2 periods? That's 2 maths lessons.
Not 2 maths lessons. Okay, since it's my lessons we are talking about basically, so let's take it that way. 2 maths lessons before break, the first break. There is 2 break in a day. So 2 before break, 2 lessons after the break, and then a second break, which we call lunch. And after that, 1 lesson, and then the day ends. So 5 lessons or 5 periods in a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have 5 maths lessons?
Yeah.
You teach 5 different classes
Of course,
in a day?
of course,
Okay.
different classes, and it is not every day that you're having 5 lessons. That would be so hectic.
Okay.
You know, so some days it varies. Some days you may have maximum of 4, some days 5 exactly, some days 3, some days 4. So yeah, it goes like that.
So the days where you have 3, what do you do with the rest of the hours then?
Okay, so days that you are free within, I mean, you have 1 or 2 lessons free, then you have time to do any other thing you want to do with regards to your teaching work.
Okay. So maybe planning, marking.
Yeah, planning, marking, and most of the time we build resources. So we create resources. So for the department. So if you have been assigned any particular resource, then you utilize that time to do it. Or if you have some printouts to make ahead of the week or in the middle of the week, you do all that.
What do you mean by build resources? Can you explain?
Okay, so with the resources, basically, I'm talking about the topics that we teach in each in the subject area, and putting together lessons.
Okay.
That is what I call resources.
Okay.
So you know, in the UK there are so many different types of books that you could get information from. So talk of the Excel, talk of
CPG.
talk of all of those apps online. So you
AQA.
get, of
You
course,
guys did AQA as well.
of course, you get resources from all of them. I mean, if we are talking about, let's say, equations has been explained in a different way in this book, has been so you put things together and create one slide that you can use to teach students.
I see.
Good. So that is basically what I'm talking about with regards to resources.
Okay. And then how are you finding the planning? So the planning of the lesson, how are you finding that?
Okay, planning of the lesson isn't so hectic. Of course, you put in more effort, just to make your lesson an exciting one. So planning of the lesson boils back to creating of the resources. So if you are able to create your resource and it is good to go, and you need to make sure it is at the level of your students, because you are not teaching just one year group. You will be teaching different year groups. So a resource for year 8 shouldn't be the same as the resource for year 10 with regards to, let's say, the topic equation.
So different year group have different resources, even though you're still teaching the same equation, because it gets harder with each year.
Of course.
Okay. But then, do you find that you're finding the lesson, like you said, the planning is not too bad? Do you think that you're spending too much time? Okay, let's retrace. Let's go back first of all.
Okay.
So now you've been here for nearly a year. You've taught maths for nearly a year now in the UK. I want you to tell us: is there any difference from how you teach maths in Ghana compared to how you teach maths in the UK? So is there any difference? Is the maths harder? Is it simpler? Is it more interesting? So I just want you to tell us any difference.
Okay. So the first and foremost thing that I would say is maths, as we know it to be, is global. There isn't any UK maths kind of, and there isn't any, back home maths. No, it's all the same. It's the same thing we are learning back home. It's the same thing we are teaching here.
Okay.
But the bit of difference is how intense we go with each topic.
Okay.
Good. So back home, we, with regards to equation as an example, as I said, we may go intense with equation here more than back home.
Okay.
I hope that is well understood. Yeah.
So for instance, for us, for primary, let's say we're looking at fraction, right? So for us, fraction, we might do fraction for 2 weeks, but that is because we're looking at every angle of fraction. So we will look at adding fractions, You might do that for a couple of days. We might look at subtracting fractions. We might look at mixed numbers and how you can transfer that to an improper fraction. So we look at improper fraction. So we're doing all of this, and we're also showing how they relate to one another as we move along. So we might do that particular one unit for 2 weeks, for 1 week, depending on how fast and how quick the children are able to get it. So are you saying for secondary it's the same thing? So you go in depth. So are you saying that in Ghana, so you do fractions for 1 day or 2 days, and then you leave it and you move to something else, or so?
Okay, so what I would say is it's the same as you said earlier. Yeah, what I meant was we go in depth. So it depends, as you said, how early the students are able to pick up with the topic. So it may take a week or two. Or 3 probably for a particular topic. As you go along teaching the particular topic, you check how your students are getting along as well with the topic. Some aspects may be easily understood, some may be a bit tricky, and so you get to know all those loopholes, and then you decide whether to continue a bit more. Maybe if you have 2 weeks for that particular topic, or if you have 3 weeks for that particular topic, and you decide whether to continue a bit for maybe 3 more days to add up. Or in some cases too, some topics may be so that the student may grasp it very quickly. So instead of maybe planning it for about 3 weeks, you might end up using 2 weeks to so
because the student goes
of course.
So that's the bit that is different from what you do in Ghana. But in terms of the actual content of maths, it's the same. It's the same. Now, what about I don't know how you guys say it in Ghana. In Nigeria, like we call them GSS1, which is the equivalent of year 7, right? I don't know if you do years as well in Ghana.
It's the same.
Okay. So the maths that you teach in year 7 here, is it the same maths that you would teach year 7 in Ghana?
Of course.
Or do you think the one in Ghana is harder?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
It's the same.
It's the same.
Okay. So for teachers who are teaching maths, who are looking to come into the UK and they're worried, like, oh, I don't know if the curriculum is different. I don't know if so they're fine. They don't need to worry about it.
They're very fine. You know, with Ghana, the difference between back home and here is that with the UK, they've joined the JHS and the SHS together and calling it high school, junior high school.
Okay.
So back home we have junior high school after primary 6. You go to junior high school 1, junior high school 2, 3. Then you go to secondary school 1, secondary school 2, and secondary school 3.
I see.
But here, what I see is we have year 7, which is equivalent to junior high school 1, year 8, which is equivalent to junior high school 2, and it goes up to the 6th form. So it's like basically the UK has integrated the junior high school and senior high school to form one thing, and back home we have separated the two things.
Okay, I see.
That's the bit of difference. But with regards to the topic, maths, it's the same.
You know why I asked that question? Because I remember there was once a friend of mine who I had this book. So my school we're changing our maths textbooks, right? And we're going to buy another scheme maths textbook. So we had a set of so each we have 30 in a class. So we had a set of 30 books, textbooks, maths textbooks, and workbooks from year 1 to year 6. So that is 30, a complete set for each person. And I said, okay, I had a friend who I had a school back home. So I said, okay, I'll ask her if she would like to use those textbooks rather than them throwing it away. I'm like, this is a waste of resources that can be used. So I took pictures of each book for each year, and I sent her and I said, look, I have these books. Do you want them? Rather than throw them away. And she said to me, oh, these maths are too easy. They are too easy for our children. No. And I said to her, what are your children doing? Are they doing abacus and algebra in year 1, year 2, year 3 that you're saying this maths book is too easy? Because she said they are too easy. No, our children are far. And I'm thinking in my head, what's going on here? So that's why I'm asking that question. Is it different? Is it harder? So people understand what it is that they're coming into. So that's why I asked that. But if you said it's the same, then that's good.
So with secondary school, it's the same. It's the same. But with regards to primary school, you know, a bit that I can say about what you just said is that you know, back home there is a bit of difference with regards to public schools and private schools. I mean private owned schools. So with the private owned schools, as much as they are following the national curriculum, they add their own bits. So for a student in the public school, comparing a student in the public school and that of the private school, the private school students may come home with so many homework, blah blah blah, and a bit above his or her level. But with the public school, we still maintain the same standard. So
I know, and just to go back again to that same question, because I know you've got your children, so maybe your children are around, outside, they're playing with mine, as you can see in the background. So now your children are all in primary, isn't it? So can you tell the difference? So now you've seen what they do in terms of class. This is just digressing a bit from secondary to primary. Can you tell a bit? Is there a difference with what they were doing in Ghana primary and what they're doing now in UK primary?
Okay, so comparing what my kids were doing back home and here, I'll use my first daughter, for example, year 5, primary school 5. So, primary school 5, what they were doing back home, as I said earlier, with regards to private schools, they were doing maths here and there, addition, subtraction, blah, blah, blah. They were almost getting towards, I can't really remember, but it was a bit ahead of what they're doing here.
Okay.
Now, comparing back home to here, it's like back home, we are always on the kids to learn. Comparing education back home and here, I would say the UK has given that freedom to kids to be kids. Kids are allowed to be kids here. So with regards to primary 5, wanting the child to be very smart, very have intense knowledge with math, with science and all that strictness, it doesn't come here.
Okay.
As much as they are being taught what they're supposed to know at that level, kids are allowed to be kids.
They're allowed to be kids.
They don't give them intense things to learn so much. And one thing I realized, they don't give homework.
They give homework.
Only that one.
We do give homework, but
Only that
the
one.
homework is not. The homework, I don't know how to describe it. So the homework is not huge. It's not huge, but we certainly do give homework. So for us, we give homework. We give your homework on Wednesday, and you're expected to bring the homework back Tuesday the next week. So it's some homework. So we do maths and we do English. So we give you a sheet of what to do and spellings. So this is what we do in my own school. I don't know, but we do homework.
Where my kids are, I've not had them come home with any homework. The only homework they've been coming home is with storybooks here and there.
Wow. Oh wow.
But maybe
they
I will
do
have
give.
to.
For the younger ones, they give, like my daughter who is in year 2, we give them, so the weekly homework for them is when she was doing phonics, it was phonics and maths and then spelling. So they have these 3 sheets, sometimes 2 sheets, but covering these 3 things they have to do every week. Then in my school, they also have the reading record, which is what your kids are bringing back home. So they give them a book to read according to their level, but that is to help them continue with reading at home and also checking their comprehension. So they also come back with that. So that thing is also classed as homework, but it's to keep them going with their reading and to ensure that they're reading at the right level they're supposed to be reading. Then in my school, we do another homework, which we call it termly projects. So of course we have three big terms, but then we have 6 small terms in the school. There are 6 small terms. So for each of those 6 small terms, we have homework projects. So we give you the homework at the beginning of each term. So that homework will be in line with what you've learned for the last term. So they might say, as a project, you can use ICT. For instance, my daughter, the last one they did was about a hedgehog. So they had this book they were reading in literacy, which is about a hedgehog. So either you can do a science poster about a hedgehog, or you can do some artistic work about a hedgehog, or you can come up with a slide about a hedgehog. So this is ICT. So the homework is spread across ICT, maths, English, and the arts. So you can do an art homework to do with hedgehog. You can do a PowerPoint slide about hedgehog. You can come up with a poster about a hedgehog. You can write a story about a hedgehog, or you can do a music. So if whatever musical instrument they're learning for that term, you can come up with your own music for that term. So this is the project we do every term. Then towards the end of the term, the children will submit their project, and then they will share it with the class, and then the teacher will mark. So we do 3 lots of homeworks in my own school. So I don't know why. I don't know.
No worries. So to talk about homework in the secondary school. With maths, we have an online platform which we call Sparks. So it is solely maths, and then every homework you give is supposed to be on the Sparks. And the schools have this subscription on that platform. So every homework you give to your students are managed on this platform we call Sparks. So it's not like back home where you give handwritten homework to students, they go solve blah 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 and bring it the next day, you check. No. So they do it online. Every homework is actually online.
So is that just maths or every other homework?
Okay, it depends on the subject area. So remember, I was teaching science. So with science
Yes,
today,
so Vivian did not tell us that she was also teaching science. So Vivian was teaching maths and science. This woman,
just a bit. I just wanted them to know that
she's a super strong woman.
Yeah. Just wanted to show the world what we've got.
So with the science,
with the science too, they have another they call it carousel. I don't know how many schools in the UK use that,
my
but
son they use that as well.
So carousel is also there for science. I can't talk much about other subject areas because
it's not
obviously
there, So that Sparks, does it mark? Do you mark it or it marks itself?
it marks itself.
Okay.
You don't have to do any marking.
Life is easier. Life is very easy.
I tell you.
Well, in some areas,
Some areas,
not
though,
in every area, in some areas.
as much as you're happy, some areas will put you down just
wow.
a bit. It spices everything up.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like your cookie stew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything will not be too sweet. Everything will not be too sour too.
Yeah. Make me hungry. Okay.
Okay, so that is for homework with the secondary school.
Okay.
So you don't have to do any bit of marking here and there. No, you just set the homework on the sparks, and then students make sure you put it right so that students are able to view and do. And there are lessons, small bits of lessons for those who need more understanding to the homework you're given.
Okay.
There is an aspect of the sparks that educates the kids, just kind of a video to illustrate what they want to know. Yeah.
Okay. I see. Wow. Interesting. So therefore, the bulk of the work is setting the sparks, the homework, and then the usual lesson planning and the marking and all of that. And do you think that, actually, what's the question I wanted to ask? It's gone off my head now. I really wanted to ask a question to do with that, but it's gone off my head. I can't remember what it is. But anyway, when he comes back, I'll remember. Let's go to the famous subjects, the famous bit. Everybody's waiting to hear. The famous bit. Everybody keeps saying, don't come to the UK. The children are very rude. Behavior. Yay!
Almighty.
The almighty behavior. The almighty behavior everyone is talking about. Vivian, how have you found it, behavior-wise? Being as an African as well. So let's also look at the African perspective, right? How have you found it in the school?
Okay, so with regards to behavior, I would say it is well. That is the first thing I would say.
Well.
It is well.
That tells 1,000 stories.
Yeah, it is well.
It is well. That's a good description.
What I'll say is teenagers everywhere, regardless of wherever they are, have that a bit of naughtiness, and it cuts across everywhere, whether back home or here. So when I say it is well,
it is well.
It is well.
It is well. It is well with my
that's
soul.
a hymn in my church, Methodist church, please.
It is well with my soul.
It is well.
So do you? But to be on the serious side now. Let's be serious. Let's be serious. So, do you think it's harder behavior-wise here, without having to go into details, right? Do you think it's harder behavior-wise here than it is back home in Ghana? Because as you've said, teenagers will always. I have teenagers, so I know what they're like. Teenagers will always be teenagers. It doesn't matter Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, India. They will always be teenagers. But in terms of how you manage it or how you think it is it more back there? Wendy, that one is not drinking water.
Yeah, I'm not drinking.
Okay. So is it more? Do you think it's harder here than it is back home in Ghana?
Okay. What I would say is it's not about comparing whether it's harder here or it's about how you manage it.
Okay.
As I said earlier on, teenagers are always coming up with this or that. Now, how does it become easier to manage? Now, remember back home, it is easier when you use a facial expression. Kind of students understand those ones. When you a bit raise your voice, they understand, they get the clue. But it's a different ball game here.
So that's called cultural differences.
Yes, that is cultural differences. So when you do that here, it's rather destroys everything.
It destroys it. There was a situation where a teacher hissed. You know how we do this sometimes? They call it here. You suck your lips, but we call it hissing. A teacher did this to a child. It was a big thing, It became a big case.
So
you sucked your lips at me. That is rude. It became a big problem. But in Africa, nobody considers it as anything. Sorry,
no worries. So as I was saying, for you to maybe use a facial expression to tell a child that what you're doing isn't right, and back home our kids really understand facial expression and those things. It is the opposite right over here. They don't understand what those expressions do. They think you're being mean.
I see. I see.
And if you raise your voice, they think you're being rude.
I see.
Good. So it's how best you try to manage it, and it is best managed when the school has a system in place to curb that behavior.
Okay.
So in my school, for example, there is a behavior management system, and we call it the C's. So if a student does something wrong for the first time, you give him or her a C1. And you verbally say that to him or her, that's a C1 for what you've done. If he or she continues for the second time, that's a C2. You remind him or her. And the students already know that when it gets to a C3, then it is a detention. And what we mean by detention is he or she will not go for break. he will be, or he or she will be kept in one particular classroom supervised by a teacher.
So
That
are
is
they doing any work there, or they're just sitting down there?
sitting down there, maybe reading a storybook or reading something.
Are they
Just-
using their phone?
No phones, please.
Okay.
No phones, please. Either a reading material, any reading material at all, a subject area, or
Okay.
a storybook.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Okay. So they sit there and they do their detention.
Yeah.
How long is detention for?
For the entire break, maybe
Okay.
you give the person 5 minutes, almost to the time, just
Okay.
to go grab something to eat. Yeah.
I see.
So it's best managed when you go.
And that C3,
About
just to
with-
say, that C3 is usually logged because the parents, they
Yeah.
have to send the parents an email
Yeah,
to
of
say that
course.
you're giving their child the C3. Now, in my son's school, they tell the parents that we've given your child the C3
Of
for this
course.
reason. So the child might come back home slightly later than usual
Yeah.
because they tend to do theirs after school. So they might say your child might come back home slightly later than usual. But they log it and parents
Yeah.
get an email to say that they've been given that C3. Sorry, carry on.
No worries. So it is best managed if you follow this particular school's laid down principles or rules system for curbing managing the behavior. But if you want to or try to use your own way, my friend, you get into trouble.
Then you begin to sing, it is well, with my soul.
Seriously.
Oh my
So that is a bit of difference, you
Yeah,
know.
okay.
Yeah, as much as back home you just look at a child,
And they get the
yeah,
message.
and they get the message.
Yeah.
It's totally the opposite here. Please don't come look at somebody with that firm eye. They will
know.
say, "Hey, are you killing me? You are killing me
You've already
emotionally."
killed me. I can't sleep. I can't sleep because I can't remember your
You know,
eyes.
yeah, a child may just say to you, go and give a report.
Yeah.
This particular teacher stared at me in a certain way, and it
Wow.
is giving me emotional trauma, and
Wow.
that is going to spoil your job.
Wow. So that's something to be careful.
Just that.
Wow. So for us who are Africans, there's a lot of relearning we need to do
Yeah, of
when it
course.
comes to things like that. Because as you say, you can have a look. It's like my mother in those days. My mother does not need to speak.
Yeah, I just
You get the message.
stare
There's-
at you for a period of
know-
time, and you
know-
should understand.
like sometimes when you go to visitor's house or family house and then they want to offer you food or drink, she doesn't even need to say anything. The way she would just look at you, you know the meaning is don't take. If you take it, if you come back home, so you just quickly say no, thank you. You know. And sometimes, like if my mom is in the midst of people maybe who understand her dialect, she speaks her dialect to us, we understand very well. But if she's in the midst of people who speak her dialect, understand, and she doesn't want them to understand what she's saying to us. We know all her looks. I mean,
Yeah.
all her looks, we know. She doesn't have to say anything. We just
Yeah.
know her
Yeah.
looks and we don't comport ourselves
Yeah.
and do what we're asked to
Yeah,
do.
of course.
So, and this is what a lot of us grew up with. And you're not different from what you grew up with, isn't it? You're not different from what you grew up. So when you come here, there's a lot of relearning. So you
Yeah.
have to sort of drop all of those things and begin to learn new
Learn,
ways
yes,
so that you don't get into trouble. As Vivian
Yeah.
said, you just staring at somebody can give them emotional trauma. You know?
Yeah, of
So you don't want anybody to have emotional trauma because of your eyes. So
That was just an example, I beg.
Vivian.
Oh, but on a more serious note,
Yeah.
it's one of the, we may see it as funny, but
Yeah.
it's one of those things.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right.
even
You're
you know
absolutely
your tone of voice. Someone else, a student might see your tone of voice as kind of an insult or something. I don't know, but the way of thinking, it's a culture thing. It's so diverse. Yeah. As much as a teacher, maybe you want to talk in a high pitch so that students across
Yeah.
the entire classroom can
Yeah.
hear you clearly.
They
Someone
miss you're
else,
shouting.
yeah.
Miss, why are you shouting? Why are you? I'm not shouting. Yes, miss, you are shouting.
You see, so this is one of those things. It's a lot to learn, lot to learn.
Wow.
And you know, whatever you do as a teacher, don't put in your emotions. Yeah, you know, for us, as I said earlier, you might use a facial expression to tell us, send a message. But if you add some such emotions to, if you add such emotions and you speak or maybe do something else, body language or something, all those are counted. All those are looked at.
Wow.
You know, yeah, how you talk to someone, how
Yeah.
you relate, your movement, even in classroom, even that. And remember here, you don't touch a student.
Hey, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted. I was thinking about this as we were just talking.
You
I wanted to
don't
say,
touch a student, whether it's a positive way or a negative way, whatever it is. No touching, no palm touch. Just like oh, how are you? No.
wow,
Yeah.
wow.
You just maybe a wave. How are you? That's accepted, but no touching.
You know, sometimes back home, teachers from the secondary schools, they will like tap a child on the shoulder. You know, they will
Yeah.
hold somebody on the shoulder. So
Yeah.
all of that is a no-no.
No go area.
Absolutely no. And sometimes
Yeah.
people take pictures. Back home, you can take picture with your teacher.
We don't take pictures. don't. Don't.
Seriously
I
bad.
recently read something about a particular teacher who got herself into a big trouble,
Yeah.
a trouble that we will see and say that this is not any kind of trouble, but that was a trouble here.
Yeah, I think that was a post from the Facebook group.
Yeah,
That
of
was a
course.
post from the Facebook.
Yeah.
So yeah, for those of you who don't know, there's a Facebook group that I run, but it's only for those who are in the
Yeah,
UK.
yeah.
So yeah, so this is where somebody shared that story.
Yeah,
I
of
think
course.
because Vivian is also in that group. But this is where someone shared that story
Seriously.
of how I think she took a picture or something
Yeah,
with another
yeah.
child. No, she asked the
She
child.
asked the child to take a picture of her,
her, yeah.
her alone,
Yeah.
without the child,
Yeah,
using her. I don't know, and it's
yeah.
it
So
was a
those are
big trouble.
safeguarding issues that people
Yeah,
need to be
yeah.
aware of. The do's and don'ts of safeguarding issues, which back home in Africa, in Nigeria, Ghana, you take pictures
It's
with
normal,
your teachers.
yeah,
You
but-
can give your teacher, please use my phone and take a picture of me. It's absolutely normal. Nobody's frowning at that or anything. But for here,
Yeah.
it's a big
Yeah.
no. It's a massive
even
no.
even if you want to take a picture, maybe in the classroom or something for official purposes, your phone is a no-go area. Your phone is not classed as an official device.
Exactly true.
So the best, maybe something to use is maybe your laptop, the laptop that has
school
been
gave to
given
you.
to you from the school,
or the iPads.
or the iPads maybe. But even that, the nature of the picture should be something accepted.
Yes. It should be something that you're doing in the classroom
Yeah.
or with the children
And
rather than taking random photos.
yeah, it shouldn't also show faces of students or teachers. Yeah.
Yeah, without their permission.
Yeah,
Because
without
we
their
have,
permission.
we have some children who their parents don't give permission for you to take pictures of them in school.
Yeah.
So whatever you're doing, you have to try and avoid those children because their parents have not given the permission
Yeah, of
for you to do that. So to be honest, to be on the safe side, if for me, I only take pictures if it's something that maybe I need to share or some work that needs to go into their book. I need to take a picture of it. We do that, and I only use the school
The school,
iPad.
yeah.
Because then it gets
Yeah,
saved
so
on the school intranet, and then it doesn't go anywhere outside of the
Outside
school.
that.
Because of course you'll be breaking some safeguarding rules if you do that.
So yeah, as
wow.
you said earlier, there are so many bits of things put together that you as a teacher coming from elsewhere should learn. Yeah, adjusting, making sure you are not at fault at any time. Even that is more than the job itself.
You're policing yourself.
Yeah,
It's like policing your own self
yeah.
to make sure that you don't get into any problems.
Yeah. Because some things, no matter how you explain it, the fact that it is not done here, it is not done here.
True.
Whether if it is an extreme positive blah blah blah, you can explain with all the grammar, all the words, my friend. It is not, so far as they don't accept it here, it is not accepted. And remember, you are in their country, not your country.
Exactly.
So when you go to Rome, you do what Romans do, you know.
You have to abide by the rules of the Romans.
Yeah,
Okay.
and always be on the safer side. With regards to maths, the subject areas, there is nothing new.
There's nothing new. Okay.
Yeah.
So for math teachers all over Africa who are coming,
Yeah.
there's nothing
There
new.
is nothing.
Curriculum-wise, it's the same.
is nothing new.
You are fine. You are good
Yeah.
to go. But where you need to work on is the behavior management,
Yeah.
the cultural differences, what you need to drop, what you need to pick, and just being aware of your own self as an individual.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, make sure that you stay on the right path.
Yeah.
You stay on the just path because, as you all know, we are all sojourners.
Yeah.
In a sense, no matter how British we are also journalists in a sense. So we just have to be very, very careful that we don't get, especially this is a very sensitive job. Okay, there's some jobs that you can do certain things and you'll be fine. But if people entrust their children to you, then they expect you to uphold
Yeah, of
whatever rules and regulations that are there to ensure that their children are safe and to ensure that you also do the right thing for yourself and for their children.
Yeah.
So no parent, even we are both parents, no parent will want to joke with their children,
Yeah,
isn't
of
it? So it's the same thing. So it's a very sensitive job, which people just need to be aware of the do's and don'ts so they don't fall foul of anything. Okay, Vivian, I don't think there's anything else to ask.
I think I'll add just one more bit. For a new teacher coming from overseas into the UK, one most important thing that you should learn, aside all things that you are doing, is the system of the particular school in which you're working. Yes, their way of things.
Okay.
How they do their things. Yeah, it's just the same back home as maybe if you move schools, if you move from one school to another school. Remember, if as much as they are all doing the same curriculum, doesn't mean their way of things here is going to be the same. So the school's way of doing things you should learn, and it will go a long way to help.
Yes, you're very right. Different schools have different styles and different ways of doing things. So it's just a case of learning whatever your school whatever it is that they are doing. Just get yourself abreast with it and understand them very well so that you're on the safe side.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Vivian.
Okay.
It's nice having you again on the channel.
Oh, and don't forget, please, as much as you are subscribing to Dwelling Oak,
Don't subscribe, bro. Don't subscribe.
as much as you are subscribing to Dwelling Oak,
Please feel free to subscribe to Vinny as well.
subscribe to Vinny's channel.
Vinny's
yeah.
channel, yeah. Subscribe.
So if you need any information at all on how to migrate to the UK as a teacher, please, both of our channels, we are always giving information out there.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate. Please watch. It doesn't take anything to subscribe.
True.
Please.
It's free.
Yeah, it doesn't take
Absolutely free.
anything.
And then you get a wealth of
Yeah,
knowledge. You get a
yeah.
wealth of information.
And-
And not just subscribing, share.
Of course,
Share, okay? It's
to
important
every
that you
platform.
share.
You know, as an individual, you may have WhatsApp platforms, Telegram platforms. Keep sharing.
Exactly.
You don't know who might
Benefit.
benefit from such
Yeah.
an information.
Yeah,
And
especially-
thank you so much. We love you all, subscribers.
Yes, we love you all. Subscribe, like, share, and turn on the
Yeah.
notification bell or button
Yeah.
so that whenever we post new videos, you'll be the first to see. Now, do not forget to leave your comments
Yeah.
in the comment section below. If you've got any questions, please feel free to either drop them on my channel, drop them at Vinny's channel, whichever one. We will pick your questions and we will answer them. Okay, have a fantastic. It's about to rain actually, so we better go inside very soon. Unpredictable weather. Come with your umbrella. It's my advice. Go with your umbrella wherever you're
Serious?
going. Umbrella, summer, winter, umbrella. That is one advice. But anyway, have a fantastic weekend
All right.
and a week, and we'll see you
Yeah.
soon.
Bye.